I'm going to let the people of Alabama make the call. This election's been going on a long time. There's been a lot of discussion about it. They're going to make the decision a week from Tuesday. The Ethics Committee will have to consider the matters that have been litigated in the campaign should that particular candidate win.
Matters? Matters. Matters. The matters are being a sexual predator who preyed on teenage girls. That was Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell on Alabama Senate candidate Roy Moore. A dramatic turnaround, a disappointing one, from his comments a few weeks ago.
I think he should step aside.
Or do you believe these allegations to be true?
I believe the women, yes.
Then how could you let the people of Alabama decide? The president today made it official, endorsing Roy Moore. And it's worth reminding our audience, Moore has been accused of sexual misconduct with multiple teenage girls. Michael Steele, where are we? I can't keep reading this. What is happening? I'm going to read your tweet. You know what? This is depressing me, but your tweet made me feel better. Your refusal to acknowledge you've just endorsed an alleged pedophile for the sake of a vote tells me Roy Moore will be a Trump puppet and America no longer has a moral compass under your leadership. That was to the president.
Yeah. And I wish more Republicans would find something related to a backbone or any other anatomy part that would allow them to say the same thing. I think there's going to be a real dear price for this party to pay next year. Women and men around the country are looking at this and going, I cannot believe that you value the vote of a pedophile over leading this country, over protecting women who finally are finding their voice to come out and speak to these types of behaviors and the aggression against them. And this political party, which has stood on the moral high ground for these 30-plus years, sanctimoniously telling people how to live their lives, sanctimoniously telling people what they should do and what they shouldn't do, sanctimoniously judging people because of who they love and where they live, now has the temerity to step back and go, oh, well, I just think we just leave it to people to decide what they want to do.
I mean, I love you.
Really? This is it.
We used to be part of that party, and how did it come to this? I mean, I agree with you. All of those trespasses led to this, being in women's uteruses, telling people who to marry and who to love and what to do in their bedrooms. That put us on this corrupt path. Those were the least conservative things that we did as a party. Conservatism means out of my life. That's what I thought it meant when I was young and impressionable. But how did we get here?
We got here because over a period of time, we have ignored the base. And when they were saying, you know, OK, you promised you would do A, B, and C, we didn't do it. The leadership didn't do it. So that was a cauldron that was boiling there. Then you had the leadership that decided to get down with the money, to get down with the deals, to get down with different relationships that took us in a pathway that here we are now. There is no anchor. There's no more anchor to the party that allows it to look at what the president is said and done in this regard and say, wait a minute, that's not who we are. We saw that when the president came down that escalator and stood before the American people and called out the Mexican-American community, talking about criminals and so forth. We had a document that said, no, we're going to have a different relationship with Latin Americans and all Americans of Hispanic origin. Oh, no, we just tossed it out of the window because that bright, shining object represented by Trump was more alluring and more promising than actually going out and committing yourself to the American people.
But there's another aspect to this, too. Donald Trump and Roy Moore wouldn't be doubling down on this if they didn't think they could win.
Right.
So that's the problem. You have a lot of people. I talk to people who say, we don't like Mitch McConnell, and we don't like that Mitch McConnell is telling the people of Alabama what to do. So that makes me support Roy Moore even more. And these things are probably fake, and it's fake news. And I mean, if there wasn't a contingent of the electorate that will back up this kind of thing,
this also seems like the ultimate day of reckoning for sort of the smear that was fake news. If Donald Trump smears the media long enough, then when the media is told that their neighbor, Roy Moore, molested their other neighbors when they were 14 years old, they won't believe them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we saw that with Project Veritas last week. This is attacks on the media, that's what's done. But I think it's even more basic than that. If you look at some of the voters, down in Alabama, there's a lot of people in this country. You have to understand from an electoral standpoint, you have a lot of Republicans, very conservative Republicans, who already think that the Democratic Party is inherently immoral. They think it's the party of Sharia law and Black Lives Matter and gay marriage. There are people who believe that to adult men having a consensual sexual relationship is more offensive than what Roy Moore was accused of. And to those people, voting for him is still a better decision.
Yeah, I would make that case as tribalism, because the ones who actually do believe the allegations have said, I still would never vote for a Democrat.
Exactly.
So they're choosing that. I would argue that what the Democrats did with Ted Kennedy and Bill Clinton laid the groundwork for all of this. They are not clean on this. That started a long time ago. But it is, no one's trying to stop the fact that tribalism prevails now. Neither party.
All right, we have to sneak in one more break. We'll be right back. To reach